Hello and welcome to another Scottish mountain walking guide. Today's walk is the final Munro from a recent trip to the far north of Scotland, and it's the most northern Munro in all of Scotland, Ben Hope. The total distance for today's walk is 7.3 kilometres, with 922 metres of ascent. It is expected to take around 3 hours and 20 minutes to walk. This is another one of the easier Munros due to the relatively short distance, and when there is no snow there is a clear path to follow, making navigation for the most part straightforward. The only exception is at the summit where there is no visible path to follow, so you'll need to use your compass. As always, links to the OS map for the route, the starting point car park and the Scottish Mountain Weather website are included in the description below. Parking is at the side of an unnamed road. Parking is free, there are no height restrictions, and you can probably fit around 15 cars. It's around 5.5 hours drive from Glasgow or Edinburgh. The closest public toilet, if you're coming from the south, is in Lairg, about an hour's drive away. Normally I don't comment on the road or the route to take to the starting point of a walk, but I think I should warn you that the 13-mile section of single track unnamed road that leaves the B873 after Alton-Nahara Bridge going to the Ben Hope car park is probably the worst, least maintained road I've driven in the past year. The passing places are unmarked, they're without tarmac and are heavily overgrown, making them almost unrecognisable. Heading south from the A838 is a similar story, but it's only 8 miles in distance. So starting at the car park, you'll follow the very clear and obvious path that heads east. You'll see a sign that says parking for Ben Hope, and you'll just follow the path that goes behind that. It starts ascending fairly steeply up a rocky section with very mild scrambling. There are some points where you have to put your hands on the rock, but it's nothing much more than that. As you ascend this section up here, the path is very clear and quite obvious. It gets a little bit boggy as you go across here, but it's nothing terrible. Certainly not one of the worst walks I've been on. And then you make your way up. Again, it's a bit peaty, a little bit wet, especially on the day that I did the walk, but you keep following the clear path. It bends across and crosses a stream here. Again, still some boggy, wet grass sections as you're making your way up. You'll eventually come up to the edge of the ridge here. And from here on, the path is much better. You'll follow this along the edge, and it works its way in. Still there's a little bit of grass around here, but it's not boggy. You work your way up, heading north, and then you'll really come onto the rocks around about here. There is nothing difficult to navigate, there's nothing difficult to climb. Even though the map here is showing some sort of crags, there's nothing to be seen. There's nothing steep, there's nothing exposed. There is an incline, but it's easy enough to walk up. You keep making your way up, it zigzags a little bit, and there are a number of cairns here, and I show that in the video and explain how far you've got to go. But it is basically just a straightforward walk, keep heading north, keeping to the right hand side of this sort of cliff. When you get to the top, you do have to go a bit more to your right, and so you're going to the right hand side of the top of the mountain as it flattens off. I did go further north in the video and I followed this path right up to the end here, and this is the main viewpoint if you want to look out over the North Sea and the north of Scotland. From there I returned back to the cairn, and then from the cairn you want to make sure you're heading in a southwest direction. This is the only bit of navigation that can be tricky because it's quite a flat top and there's no clear path until you get to about here. And then once you're back on the path it's very clear and obvious. You retrace your steps and descend the mountain to the south. It's a very simple and straightforward walk back to the car park. There is one section here, and it's not shown on the maps as a path, but you will see it if you look at the satellite. And right here, there's another path that's been started. So you can see signs of where people have just cut this corner. You can work your way down here and cut this whole section out. I followed the main path, it was more obvious and clear, and I'm not sure how good the quality of the ground here is. Even this bit has got some peat in wetter sections, so this might be worse. You just follow that back down to the car. Good morning, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm at the start of the walk for Ben Hope. It's less than ideal weather conditions. It's meant to stay this way for the next 2 or 3 days. So not really got much choice other than to go up and do the walk. It's been raining a lot overnight, there's a lot of water around. But it's a short walk. The bigger challenge with this walk is it's 6 or 7 hours drive from Glasgow or Edinburgh. So it's a long way to go. So when you get here, you just really need to make the best of it. Quite a steep but short walk. And you can hear the noise of the waterfall. Starting time is 8:10. From the car park, you head up to the right of the waterfall and river up there. Follow the path. This one should be quite an easy path just to follow all the way to the top. Don't expect there to be any forks in the path that we need to make any decisions at. The path itself runs along the top of a sort of high ridge that goes along to the left. You can see just a little bit of it in the camera just now. This is actually better visibility than was forecast. So, set off from here. You're immediately met with a rocky, steep incline. And today a lot of water. It's quite a grey day. Weather is better than forecast so far. It looks pretty accurate for the summit. At this point I'm at 300 metres, the summit's around 922, so around a third of the way up. It's 9 AM. I'm just up to the shoulder of the really steep bit. A big cliff on your left hand side. Almost halfway. I guess it'll take about 2 hours to get to the summit. Then an hour to get back down probably. I'm starting to get into the cloud now. That's exactly 1 hour into the walk. I'm at 525 metres, summit's at 927 metres, so a little bit past halfway. The path's been quite clear and easy to follow, and it's just going to keep going up the side here. There's a random big cairn It's at 625 metres. The path is quite broad and it's just lots of rock and gravel and just zigzags all the way up so far. From this cairn it's 1.4 kilometres to the summit, 300 metres of ascent, and estimated to take around 50 minutes to walk. There is a little false top at this point. We've still got a kilometre to go, 170 metres of ascent, and the wind's picking up. There is a windbreak, but it really doesn't look much use. Oh well, it gives a little bit of protection. But the wind's coming from the north, heading south, and this windbreak is designed for the opposite direction. Even east to west it would come here, but yeah, it's open at the north side. Well, it's a welcome sight to see the top, but no view today, and absolutely no point sticking around. It's taken exactly 2 hours to get to the summit. The descent should be quite quick and easy. None of it is too steep, and you should get off pretty quick. If you keep heading north from the summit, you'll come to a very rocky outcrop and big steep cliffs. So from here you would get an amazing view out to the North Sea, but just now, yeah, nothing. So from here I want to head south, and I'm going to go back past the cairn and then head to the southwest and then south. From the summit you want to head directly southwest, and then you'll soon see the path and then just follow that back down. Obviously in winter conditions you need to be much more careful of your navigation. You won't have a path to follow. I'm going to head straight off. With the wind coming from the north, it's nice and calm on the way down, protected by the mountain. Not far to go now, at least halfway down. Just down over that edge, and then it's this sort of steeper section. I'm back at the car park. The original audio was very poor due to the water in the microphone. The total walking time was 3 hours. I was absolutely soaked. It was a very wet walk. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative, and as always I look forward to showing you more of Scotland in the next video. Thanks for watching and bye for now.